Let's say you have a Bored Ape and you want to borrow $10,000. You would normally have to set a specific duration, like, oh, I want to borrow $10,000 for 2 weeks. And then you have to, set a reminder for 2 weeks later to repay your borrow. Otherwise, you lose your, $100,000 Bored Ape. And then in Blend is actually a perpetual lending protocol. So there's no explicit expiration. So you can just borrow $10,000. That borrow keeps on accruing interest over time, but you don't have any explicit time at which you have to repay your borrow.
So you are going to launch a new product called Blend. What is Blend?
In a short sentence, Blend is a peer-to-peer perpetual lending protocol for NFTs. If you're familiar with like DeFi protocols like Compound and Aave, those are peer-to-pool, where everyone just kind of dumps some ETH and crypto into a pool, and then the protocol handles out the loans. In Blend, it's peer-to-peer, so each loan is basically issued by like a separate individual, and then the borrower, when they take a loan, they take it from a separate individual. It's not borrowing against a pool, it's borrowing against like an individual loan offer as a fund. So it's a peer-to-peer versus peer-to-pool model.
So why is it that Blur decided to launch NFT borrowing?
Right now in NFTs, there's pretty much no financialization. So, there's billions of dollars worth of NFTs trading every month, but there's absolutely no, pretty much zero financialization at all. If you look at most financialized markets, like the housing market or the crypto market, every big market grows through financialization. So even if you look at like Bitcoin, for example, 90% of Bitcoin volume is from derivative volume. It's not from, spot volume. Similarly, in the housing market, it's, the majority, when people buy their houses, they buy it with a mortgage. They don't pay all the money up front. In NFTs today, we're still at the very early stage of this market where there isn't any sort of financialization.
And let's say that I have like one valuable NFT, like a Bored Ape, but then the rest are kind of, sort of like middle level. Then how am I vetted, and how do I vet who my lender is? Or do I not do that? Is it just that they're vetting me?
Yeah, so you don't actually even need to vet the lender. The way it works is currently, in the initial implementation, all of the loans are collection loan offers. So basically, you borrow anyone that has like a Bored Ape as an example, could borrow using any of the loans. It's not like against specific traits or specific NFTs. And when you borrow, you basically will just take out like a certain amount of ETH. You have to lock up your NFT, you take out a certain amount of ETH. And then once you have that ETH, now your borrow balance, like let's say you borrowed like 10 ETH, now your borrow balance starts accruing interest. And eventually when you want to repay that borrow, you have to repay that borrow plus interest.
Is it like other kinds of borrowing in crypto where there's collateralization ratios?
NFTs are so illiquid. You can't just kind of copy paste the exact same primitives that have worked in DeFi over to NFTs. So the way the protocol works is there's actually no collateralization ratio. There's no oracle system. This also means that the protocol does not suffer from the same like oracle-based attacks that most normal lending protocols in both like DeFi and NFTs have kind of suffered from. And the way it works is that when a lender doesn't want to loan anymore, let's say they want to get their ETH back, at that point the lender can basically initiate an auction where the borrower gets to repay their loan within 30 hours. And if they don't repay their loan, then the loan basically goes through an auction where the interest rate increases from a 0% APY all the way up to 1,000% APY. And basically, if any other lender sees that and is like, oh, actually this 10 ETH loan at 10% APY is not very appealing, but actually at 25% APY is very appealing to loan against given my risk profile, then another lender can come in and basically refinance the loan automatically for you. So this mechanism basically allows you to have this like peer-to-peer lending mechanism without having to rely on an oracle system.